Namaskar, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I am Namrata Singh and you're watching Perspective. India today is witnessing a major transformation, not just in infrastructure, but in how we think about and shape our cities. This change is about improving lives, creating better living conditions and building cities that are more inclusive, efficient and sustainable. At the heart of this shift is a focused push towards urban development where planning, execution and long-term impact go hand in hand. A key initiative driving this change is the Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, AMRUT, launched on 25th June 2015. As AMRUT completes 10 years, it's a moment to look back and assess what was the mission's original purpose, what have been the key achievements, and more importantly, how do we ensure our cities are truly future ready? So to discuss this and much more, I'm joined by a very eminent panel of guests. I'm pleased to welcome two distinguished guests joining us virtually. I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Kamla Pandey, Professor, Urban Management, Indian Institute of Public Administration. We also have Dr. Debolina Kundu, Director at National Institute of Urban Affairs. Thank you both for being here and welcome to Sansad TV. Let me begin the discussion with you, Dr. Pandey. India marks a major milestone as the AMRUT completes a decade. Over the last 10 years, the mission has played a crucial role in shaping India's urban growth. So to begin with, could you take us through the original goals of AMRUT and highlight some of its key achievements? How would you evaluate its overall impact on the ground so far?
Atal Mission on Urban Rejuvenation and Transformation, its abbreviation AMRUT, is really also similar to the meaning of AMRUT in Hindi and Sanskrit, because it covers water, tap water as well as sewage and drainage provision in the cities. And these two have wider implication in terms of human health, in terms of productivity, in terms of quality of life, in terms of living standard. So it has impacted all these areas in our cities. That is number one. Second point, that these two things are also linked with green and blue development. That is greenery as well as water. And road comes without saying along with them. So these three are the main municipal functions: water, sewage and management of roads. So that way it is very appropriate to start this mission, and the government did very right thing in 2014-15 when they started AMRUT, and during last 10 years it has really made substantial impact on the quality of life, on productivity, on human health and environment and also climate change. But yet the road is still fairly long. We have not achieved the targets which we are needed, which need to be achieved, fulfilled, and that is why the AMRUT 2 is really logical extension of AMRUT 1 on the same areas of actions.
Definitely. So Dr. Kundu, AMRUT 1.0 focused on ensuring tap water for every household, creating greener cities and promoting public transport under a broad urban development vision. While AMRUT 2.0 was taken a level above, it shifts the focus to water security, strengthening sewage management and promoting a circular water economy through reuse, conservation and water body rejuvenation. So could you elaborate on this shift in focus and how it strengthens the mission's long-term goals?
Thank you for the question. Before I respond to this question of yours, I would also like to bring in focus for the audience is that while AMRUT, which was launched on the 25th of June 2015, had a coverage of only 500 class 1 cities, including state capitals and some important cities. However, the focus of AMRUT 2.0 is for all statutory towns. We have in the country now around 4,900 plus statutory towns. So the coverage is now for all statutory towns. This is a very important step, I believe, to make cities water secure and also to promote circularity for all cities. I think this is one important thing which we need to keep in mind. And also the budgetary provision has increased by leaps and bounds. So from 50,000 crores, now it's 2.99 lakh crores. So that is one significant development which has happened for AMRUT 2.0. And also, when you talk about the detailing, why the way we have the structured AMRUT 2.0, I think 100% sewerage and septage management in the 500 AMRUT cities. The cities which already started off about 6 to 7 years back. In 2021, the target was to achieve 100% sewerage and septage. Again, universal coverage of water supply in all the statutory towns. So this 4,900 plus statutory towns will be covered by water, make them saturated with water. And water security in cities, which means rejuvenation of water bodies, aquifer management, the shallow aquifer management, rainwater harvesting, and also Pejal Suraksha. So by undertaking these activities, which again are trying to make cities water secure, I think this is a very important achievement which we are trying to achieve through AMRUT 2.0.
Yeah, indeed, it is a very big achievement. So, Professor Pandey, you know, one of the AMRUT's key priorities was inclusive planning, particularly targeting the urban poor. So, according to you, how effectively has the mission addressed the needs of vulnerable populations? And, you know, what role did features like park development and universal access to water play in improving livability?
It has really affected the overall living standard, has improved the living standard of poor, which is confirmed by the recent World Bank report when they say the poverty, urban poverty has been reduced substantially. So that is one indicator on which this AMRUT has really made its contribution. And secondly, the water surplus cities, it makes it aims to have surplus water in the cities by treating the sewage. And as you referred to circular economy, cities are now really making use of treated water. Nagpur is selling water worth rupees 300 crore per annum. Ahmedabad is also doing similar projects, and Bengaluru is doing. So other cities need to learn. Now this process of water and sewage needs to be expanded to a large number of cities, particularly the small and medium towns. And for that purpose, the Urban Challenge Fund is now being initiated, which has support from World Bank and ADB. And Urban Challenge Fund expects cities to take up bankable projects with the 25% contribution from the government and 75% from local body, from bonds, from banks, and from public-private partnership. So this next phase of AMRUT 2.0, will go a long way using the focus of Urban Challenge Fund.
Okay. So, Dr. Kundu, you know, one thing I would like to ask you, that why is urban planning so critical in today's rapidly changing cities?
You know, if you look at the way cities are growing, I believe you are aware of the 2,530 new census towns which came up in the 2011 census.
Absolutely.
Which indicates in situ upgradation. You are where you are, but the entire village turns to a town. So when that process is on, in addition to rural to urban migration and also city expansion, the limits of several cities like Hyderabad, Bangalore, Surat, these are also expanding. So when urbanization is happening in various dimensions, I think planned urbanization is very important when we are trying to achieve Viksit Bharat by 2047. and also sustainability is the key to development. So I believe that it is very important for cities to be planned. And if you look at the Niti Aayog report, which came in 2021, we had only about 16% of the census towns which were planned and around 40% of statutory towns which were planned. So I think this entire gamut of 10,000 towns and cities which we have in the country, which includes the census towns as well, at least 5,000 by any conservative estimate. So these towns need to be planned along with the statutory towns. And the AMRUT mission, I think it has taken a commendable step by introducing GIS-based master plan in all the 4,900 plus cities. I would claim that all towns are having master plans, but each town and each city is being asked to prepare GIS-based master plan, which is the foundation of planning. So I believe once we have GIS-based master plans in all towns and cities, that will be the first step towards planned urbanization, which is the need of the hour.
Can you, ma'am, elaborate on this plan?
So if you have GIS-based master plans, which means different layers of information could be built. So regarding water supply, regarding even property tax collection, regarding management, regarding the greenery in the city, regarding the existence of water bodies, lakes, rivers. So these information layer-wise can be built in. And when you have a holistic framework of data on various aspects of urbanization, the city decision makers, the city managers, the commissioners of various cities can make an informed decision with regard to planning. Which part of the city would need investment? Which would need more investment? I think these would emerge from the real-time data. So real-time data could also be integrated through AI and the MIS. So the integration of AI, MIS and GIS can help in providing information regarding what policy interventions need to be taken while planning cities. So that this step which has been taken by AMRUT, I believe it's a commendable thing.
Indeed, it's a commendable step, and as Dr. Kuddu pointed out, that planned urbanization is very important, and the mission has made notable progress in improving urban water supply, undoubtedly a major achievement that aligns with the Modi government's vision of transforming cities through better infrastructure and quality of life. But Professor Pandey, however, in many cities, existing public infrastructure remains overburdened, whether it's a sewage system, water pipelines, or even electricity connections. So how do we tackle the dual challenge of upgrading, aging infrastructure while also planning for the future expansion of our cities, especially when it comes to building more resilient urban systems?
I think this is a very appropriate question. What you said that existing infrastructure, there are huge gaps in legacy infrastructure in water and sewage in the core city areas, and that needs to be taken up with the suitable mechanism. And for that purpose, this Urban Challenge Fund is being used, and it will be used through creative redevelopment project. And those projects will see that what we are planning to have a planned urban development is something important. But more important is that urban development has come first and planning has come later in the core city areas, in the old part of the city, in the existing cities. So how to tackle that? And for that purpose, the Urban Challenge Fund is very important, and which aims to develop creative redevelopment project in the core city areas, in the slums, in the unauthorized colonies, in the old part of the cities, which will rejuvenate the living standard, quality of life, and also the poor, help the poor to live with dignified, healthy, and environment-friendly environment. And also climate change effect will be addressed by these two, by drainage system, by proper water and sewage access, by proper green development in the cities. So that aspect, we see the urban flooding, particularly in the old part, in Gurgaon, Delhi, and so many other, every city you see the flooding is a common phenomena. So it will address that also.
Okay, okay. But Dr. Kundu, beyond planning and infrastructure, efficient management of urban resources like land and water is equally critical, especially in fast-growing metropolitan cities, if we talk about. So with many cities already facing strain on basic services, how do we ensure better resource management to support sustainable growth? And what role can AMRUT and similar missions play in addressing this challenge holistically?
I think the AMRUT mission has already taken this challenge very holistically since its inception in 2015, because this mission is also linked to reforms, and the first reform was linked to e-governance. So how do you digitally enable the ULB? By creating a ULB website, by publication of e-newsletter, by supporting Digital India, again by coverage of e-procurement, personal management, establishment of municipal cadre, migration to double entry system of accounting, which is very important for all urban local bodies, preparation of GIS based master plan, as I had already mentioned, and devolution of funds and functions as per the 14th Finance Commission devolution to ULBs that had to be ensured when the mission was launched at that point of time.
Okay.
Again, appointment of state finance commissions and to make the decisions as per the ATRs. So a holistic view was already taken up for devolution of funds, functions, and functionaries, which was again which the cities could not achieve. Although in 1992 we had the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, but most of the cities are yet to really devolve all three Fs: funds, functions, and functionaries. And this was taken up in a very aggressive manner through the AMRUT mission, when it was launched, the original mission. Again, this was the setting up of financial intermediaries at the state level. I think this was also a very important financial reform which came up, including municipal tax and fees improvement in the levy and collection of user charges, improving the credit worthiness of urban local bodies so that they could really access the credit market. So these were already there, and AMRUT 2.0 reforms made it still mandatory to improve the property tax, to improve user charges. Then there are incentive-based reforms like reforms on water conservation, reforms on governance, the point which you asked me.
Right.
How do you really get water and sewage connections? How do you credit rate and issue municipal bonds? How do you really get online municipal service? And also augment double entry accounting system? How do you prepare PPP, public-private participation projects in non-million plus small towns? How do you involve the community? How do you make the city more energy efficient? How do you make the cities more GIS-based master plan friendly? And also, how do you unlock the land value through urban planning? I think these are all the plethora of reforms which we are trying to undertake through the AMRUT 2.0. And once these happen, I think India will be really on an entirely transformative mode, and cities will be performing at a much larger scale than they are doing just now.
Absolutely. Professor Pandey, from engaging women's self-help groups through AMRUT Mitra to training over 90,000 individuals and encouraging startup innovations, how important have these capacity building and community engagement efforts been in ensuring the mission's long-term sustainability, according to you?
These are very important initiatives, but there are two important issues which need to be addressed. One is the institutional structure. Even now, in most places, municipal body, the city government is not responsible for water and sewage. It is the parastatal and para-municipal like State Water Supply Board or Jal Sansthan in UP, Bangalore Water Supply Board in Bangalore, Jal Board in Delhi. So there is a gap. There is a communication gap between city government and the agencies responsible for water and sewage. And they are really not accountable to urban local body the way they should have been. So there is a need. The 74th Constitution Amendment Act expected this, but due to various reasons, it could not happen. So we have to see that this more convergence and integration is ensured, is brought to this urban local body. They should be made accountable to ULB and hand over the assets to ULB and services to ULB wherever it has not been done so far. Because local bodies represent the bottom up requirement of the town. These are all see the city in a top down manner. Second is the financial position of ULBs is very poor. As Dr. Kundu rightly said, the double entry accounting, property tax, and other reforms are needed. But gap is so large that so far only 17 cities have been able to issue bonds, 3,395 crore. It is reported just this week in the media through this SEBI source. And we have a huge number of cities. Only 17 have been able to issue bonds, which is one aspect too. But more than that, the 17 cities have issued the bond also show the poor financial health of other cities because they are not in a position to qualify the rating. So that aspect, what Dr. Kundu said, the capacity building is very important, particularly in the tier 2, 3, 4 towns where there is huge gap there is one executive officer or one chief executive officer looking after 3, 4 towns at the same time. Or the age of municipal commissioner as per Janagraha study is only 11 months. So we have to see that proper manpower is placed. Not only planners, but engineers, chief executive officers and others also.
Okay.
And the responsibilities are shared and transferred to urban local bodies in due manner.
Okay, capacity building is very important. But, Professor, while it is important to acknowledge the progress made under the mission, it's equally crucial to reflect on the challenges faced during its implementation. So what, in your view, were the major hurdles that affected the smooth rollout of the scheme? And, how were these challenges addressed?
These challenges are being addressed properly, but somewhere because the center is doing the best possible.
Okay.
But urban development is a state subject. And the state has to take a decision to transfer the particular activity, to recruit the manpower, to provide the manpower, to transfer the manpower, and to provide planners to integrate the planning activity in the state. So it is basically a tripartite task which the center is doing, state and local. So there is a need to have a more consensus, more coordination, more integration in this tripartite coordination.
Okay. So, Dr. Kundu, looking ahead, how do we ensure our cities are truly future ready? What should be the key focus areas and strategies for sustained urban development beyond the current AMRUT 2.0 phase?
So I believe there are basically three things which are very important. One is the governance part. One is the financial security, how creditworthy cities are, and also whether cities are planned. If these three things happen, I think India will be altogether on a different platform, where by emphasizing on inclusive planning, service delivery, long-term sustainability can be achieved, and also as and when cities come up, because this is a very much ongoing process, and we are all aware that the urbanization process is inevitable. So as and when new cities come up, there needs to be planned interventions so that the mess which we are just now at, the retrofitting which is happening, does not need to happen. We grow in a planned manner. For that, I think the capacities of the urban local bodies need to be formed up adequately and effectively. That is number one. We need to govern our cities in a very scientific manner, and there needs to be planned interventions and integration of efforts, not in siloed manners, but each department needs to work with the other, and we need to draw synergies among all the departments. As Professor Pandey was mentioning, that there are parastatals and urban local bodies, and there is very little collaboration among them. I think that collaborative effort needs to come, which is also the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister. So, in order to achieve Viksit Bharat by 2047, I think we all need to gear up from now onwards. And because climate crisis is again knocking at our door, so each intervention also needs to have a climate focus. Yes.
Absolutely, ma'am. So basically, collaborative effort is needed and synergies among departments is needed. Better planning, implementation is needed. But before we wrap up, I'd like to hear your closing thoughts, Professor. What's the road ahead according to you? How do we build on the momentum of AMRUT to create smarter, greener and more inclusive urban spaces for the future?
Most important positive aspect is that political economy in the country is now in favor of urban development. There is a larger awareness on urban issues. Government of India, the recent budget looks beyond 1 year. They think that next 10 years what will happen, next 20 years what will happen. Similarly, states are also, the political leaders, the bureaucrats, the civil society, all are eager to see that urban development takes place in a better way. All have consensus that road to developed nation goes through cities and towns, because it is ultimately the manufacturing and services which will provide larger GDP to make India a developed nation.
Definitely. So as AMRUT turns a decade old, it represents a major step forward in India's urban journey, one that focuses on smart planning, better services and greener and more livable cities. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Perspective. A big thank you to our guests for their valuable contributions to the discussion, and to you, our viewers, thank you for joining us. Stay tuned and keep watching Sansad TV. To watch more programs of Sansad TV, subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to like and share them.